Just 50 billionaire families have already spent a whopping $600 million on the 2024 elections. And that's not all. They're not going to stop. The amount is going to increase as we get closer and closer to election day. And this is all according to a new report by Americans for Tax Fairness. So I just want to start off by helping you all understand how small this group is, considering the outsized influence they have on our elections. So these 50 billionaire families account for 0.0000002% of the American population. And yes, that report refers to 50 families, not individuals, but look, you get the idea. It's a small group of people, small group of households. Now, to put their contributions in perspective with those of the average American, the 50 billionaire mega donor families in the study are collectively worth over $1 trillion, meaning the 600 million they've spent on politics just in this election cycle alone only equals 0.06% of their total wealth. The equivalent donation for the average household would be about $100. So these 50 billionaire families alone have the political spending capacity of over 6 million ordinary American families. So let's take a look at this breakdown of how that $600 million was spent on political parties, PACs, and super PACs. And as you can see, the bulk of that cash has gone to the Republican Party, 69%. Democrats have also taken some of that money, 23% of it. RFK Jr. has taken 4%. I guess pro-crypto politicians have taken 2%, and pro-Palestinian politicians have taken 2%. So who are these big spenders, basically dropping the big bucks to influence our elections? Well, Jeff Yass happens to be one of them, a friend of Donald Trump's, a billionaire stock trader from Pennsylvania, and a newfound ally of Trump, is the largest individual donor so far this cycle, having given more than $70 million, most of it to the far-right Club for Growth, which sounds like the name of an organization that should be dealing with like male pattern baldness, but nonetheless, and the PAC supporting the hard right House Freedom Caucus. So look, this isn't new. The only thing that's new is that every election cycle, it appears that the amount of money that's used to legally bribe our politicians increases, and it's reaching new heights. But when you put it in perspective and see, Waz, how small the group is, it really does kind of pour cold water on the notion that we're living in a well-functioning democracy.
Pausing here to deliver some honest truth as we do in our news coverage as well. TYT is facing challenges, guys, as the entire industry is. You know who could make the difference? You. If you hit the join button below, it's gonna make all the difference and keep us in business. We appreciate you, thank you.
Yeah, it's obvious that these guys get the leaders of our country, they have their ear to an extent that something like a mass student protest or something like polls don't. Like, it just doesn't. Like, these guys literally, these guys and gals, let's keep it real, they can literally call the White House, they can call the major players in the Senate, they can call the major players in the House on the phone. You know, like how could I get a message to Gavin Newsom? You know, or like how could that even be possible? That I could get like a message and then my message would get like an actual listen, as compared to, you know, a lot of these other citizens, if you will. I like to call them oligarchs, but yeah, they call themselves citizens. And you know, Citizens United said that these guys get to talk with their money. Their money is speech. And so you know, this is the system that we've crafted for ourselves here.
Yeah, that's totally true. And if you genuinely want to have a conversation with Gavin Newsom, I have no idea if he'd listen to you, but you could probably catch him at the French Laundry in Northern California.
Yes, he was lecturing the people about the COVID lockdowns. And then he held a fundraiser. It wasn't even a birthday party or like, you know, a bar mitzvah or something like cool, like family related. He held a goddamn fundraiser at the French Laundry after that. Like, talk about tone deaf.
Totally, totally. Now let's get to some of the specifics here. Let's name some more names. In a close second is hedge fund manager Ken Griffith, who has focused much of his spending on David McCormick, a fellow hedge fund manager challenging Senator Bob Casey, a Democrat in Pennsylvania, and Maryland Governor Larry Hogan, who is running for his state's open Senate seat. And what's especially infuriating about this story is just how concentrated the spending is, even among those 50 families. So the top 10 families by political donations, which also include well-known conservative mega donors such as the Kochs, Ricketts, and Uihleins, accounted for more than half of the 50 families' overall spending. So it's kind of like looking at the 1%, and then even within the 1%, there's this huge disparity among, the top of that food chain versus, the lower end of the top 1%. So again, tiny group of people who have a lot of money to burn, and they use that money, or part of that money at least, in order to influence our elections and persuade politicians to serve their best interests as opposed to the best interests of the country, other constituents. It is infuriating. And honestly, I think when it comes to changing political policies, I remember hearing conservatives back in the day repeat over and over again, all politics is local, all politics is local. And you know what? To some extent, they are right. You have a much better chance changing politics or the political makeup of your, municipality, or swaying local politicians to pursue policies that you favor on a local level as opposed to the federal level. That doesn't mean you give up on the federal level, but again, maybe we need some wins, and a good way to do that is to focus on local elections.
Yeah, I think, like say in our state of California, we hear a lot about these NIMBYs like ruining stuff with the zoning laws and not allowing new housing to be built. Like Joe Biden can't do anything about that. Like he's not gonna do anything about that. He can't do anything about that. That has to be done on a hyper local level and just a gargantuan organizing level, more specifically, right? And so, yeah, a lot of the major stuff that happens in our cities and towns does need to happen on a local level for sure.
Definitely, yeah. And I mean, people are starting to get the hang of that, and they're getting a lot more involved in local politics, which I think is a good thing. And I totally agree with you when it comes to building more housing. I mean, each municipality and each state has its own laws that essentially serve as a hindrance or an obstacle to building more housing. Now, the Biden administration, in an effort to garner some favorability during this election cycle, had noted that they're going to help first-time home buyers by offering them like a $400 subsidy. Okay, I mean, look, obviously that amount of money is a joke considering housing prices, but also it's the affordability is a problem because there's no supply and high demand. Okay, so how exactly is providing a subsidy going to help that situation? It's not. It's going to drive up potentially housing prices even more. Although I don't know if $400 is enough to really do anything, keeping it real.
I just think obviously these guys and gals are going to put a bunch of money into the system. But what you often find is they back the wrong horse and lose, right? So the money isn't everything. So that's just a little positive note to the folks out there that even our overlords who are so smart and so rich and so great, even they get it wrong all the time and just literally just burn money.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks. We really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.